By the time first European settlers arrived in the upper Pee River Valley, the American Indians had largely abandoned the area and moved elsewhere or died out due to illness. The absence of dense forest here is believed to have resulted from natural wildfires, together with possible deforestation by the Indians. Broad rivers, steep, rocky hillsides, and poor to non-existent roads impeded transportation. Thus, local settlers lived incredibly isolated, self-reliant lives. Pioneering was a hard life, and no one prospered. Everyone shared a common poverty. This indeed was that country. At first, settlers arrived here in small numbers, coming from Virginia and surrounding colonies. Then, following the French and Indian War, large numbers came from the Delmarva Peninsula of Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, and inland regions of Virginia and Maryland. They came in search of cheap, open, fertile land, which was increasingly unavailable or priced beyond their reach where they lived. Later, after the War for Independence was won, more settlers arrived, often relatives and friends of those already here. Some families named the earliest settlers were Randall, Snuggs, Marshall, Tillman, and Ledbetter, Allen, Schenkel, Swearingen, and Colson, Clark, Christian, Ross, Fromm, and Lilly. Naturally, many settlers who landed at ports in South and North Carolina moved inland, but seldom beyond the fall lines, where waterfalls and rapids interfered with navigation. Later, as roads improved and an agricultural economy was established here, large numbers of people came from Anson, Richmond, Chesterfield, and Marlborough counties. Meanwhile, farther inland still, others arrived from routes to the northwest. In Tyson Township, earlier known as Ross, the names McSwain, Kendall, Davis, and Aldridge, as well as Smith, Eford, Green, and Hudson, appear frequently in the written record. Let us prepare now for Act 1, Scene 1.
Sam, this is it. 300 acres of some of the richest farmland in North Carolina. It's going to be a lot of rocks to pick up.
Mind if I land, Master? Do you see where you're supposed to live?
They won't be hard to find. Rocky River has plenty of fall and does the creek that we crossed this morning.
Sure, but then you say there needs to be a natural ford and a footpath that can be made into a wagon trail.
That's right. So our neighbors can bring their corn and grain by wagon.
Yes, sir. Happy day to come.
Okay.
From the earliest days, grist mills were an essential part of a community's economy. Farmers bought corn and grain into the ground. A country store and blacksmith shop were usually located nearby, often owned by the miller himself or a relative. So essential was a mill to the community that states enacted laws giving special rights to millers and imposing certain obligations on them. Between the years 1715 and 1877, the North Carolina General Assembly passed 10 different laws regulating mill operations. The mill owner was issued a license to operate for a certain distance up and down streams, often 2 miles each way. These monopolies were granted to entice the construction of mills. If a miller needed to acquire adjacent land, say across the stream, the laws of eminent domain were available for securing it. For these privileges, the miller had to abide by certain rules. The first law passed said, if one erects a mill, it is to be a public mill available to anyone. A miller cannot refuse service to anybody. The second law required that millers should grind according to term, first come, first serve, and shall well and sufficiently grind the grain brought to their mills. The fee for grinding was to be no greater than 1/8 part for wheat and 1/6 part for Indian corn. Stated differently, for every 8 bushels of wheat ground, the miller kept 1 bushel for his fee. This was a single coveyed water permitted. Many mills are known to have existed along the Peding and Rocky Rivers and Jacob, Ugly, and Long Creeks. At this point, we're going to present to you Act 1, Scene 2, Slade County.
Mom, are we going to camp meeting this year?
It's too soon to know, Sarah. Camp meeting's in August.
Uncle Sarah says we're going.
You can't count on that. Please just get to Mrs. Clara's mind. She hasn't said anything to me.
Don't see why we won't go. You do all the cooking and we feed the hens and milk the cow. They can't manage without us.
When are you children going to learn? I wasn't going to tell y'all this, but I saw Brother Steve hanging around the master at the mill the other day. That ain't no good sign.
Hush, Paul. You said you wasn't going to say anything about that around here. Steve might have more problems with Master.
Master ain't got no money nor the credit.
Children, don't worry yourself none about this. Worry ain't never got nobody nowhere.
Slave families were forever at risk of being sold, individually, together, or paired with other family members. Slaveholders sold slaves when they needed cash. The sight of a slave trader talking with the master was a dreadful sign. Legend holds that one Willis Steve was a vile and cruel slave trader who had a farm at Central. All blacks were not slaves. Some few obtained free black status. You will meet one such man in the next scene, Ralph Freeman. He learned to read and write, perhaps from his master, who was a preacher and congressman. The two traveled together, preaching at churches throughout the South Central Piedmont. Freeman rose to be a famed preacher himself and substituted for his former master when he attended to political business. In those days, it was not unusual for blacks and whites to worship together. Someday, as you drive through Ansonville on Highway 52, look for a North Carolina historical marker on the roadside as you exit toward Wadesboro. The marker recognizes Ralph Freeman's astonishing life and notes his nearby gravesite. Let us prepare for Act 1, Scene 3. Well at Slade Cabin, 1830.
Here he comes, here he comes. Mama, he's coming. Reverend Ralph coming.
Hello, children. May we have some water?
Sure, I'll draw it for you.
Thank you, my child. You'll be so kind.
I'll water your horse.
You'll be his friend for life.
Reverend Ralph, were you preaching this time?
Yes, Kendall Baptist Church. It's a beautiful place up there. They treat me so kind. You been there?
Reverend Freeman, you know I can never get away from this place. My man, he was there once, driving sheep to the market. Master had more wool than we could spin.
You'll be a camera, won't you?
You know how that goes. Depends on Mrs. Clara. She's been feeling low lately.
Best be on my way. Thank you, children. You've been so kind.
In 1831, there was a slave rebellion in southeastern Virginia led by Nat Turner, in which more than 50 whites were killed. The rebellion was suppressed, and the state executed 56 slaves accused of taking part. Also, 100 or more other African Americans were murdered by white mobs and militias. Across the South, there was widespread fear of rebellion. State legislators passed law forbidding the education of slaves and free blacks, and severely restricted their rights of assembly, thus barring Ralph Freeman from preaching. At this point, we present to you Act 1, Scene 4, Parlor at the Big House, 1850.
Honey, are you really gonna do it?
Sure, we're gonna do it. After we survive, we don't do it.
I know they have the cotton gin, and I know people are growing cotton. But do you really have to do it?
Listen, Nancy, that's how we get rich these days. Cotton. Cotton's king. I don't want to be the poorest family in this area.
But we have to mortgage everything we have.
What you want us to do? Move to Arkansas with your brother? That'd be a struggle too. In a few years, we'll have the best, most prosperous farmer right here. We'll be the richest, most prosperous people there are in this community. And after we get rich, you probably go to the store and buy you one of the Sunday girl meeting dresses.
Did you hear? There's a new shipment of slaves you saw on Saturday. Ain't you not gonna wage burn no more?
How many slaves gonna be sold? Have you heard?
No, I haven't. But Steve says there'll be more than there were last month.
Nancy and I were just talking about this. We've been talking about it the last 3 or 4 days. It's really been on our mind.
Don't worry about it, my friend. The market in England is sky high.
It's just a gamble. The price might drop.
In the early days, cotton was a luxury that was seldom used in clothing. Instead, sheep's wool and flax were the primary raw materials for yarn, thread, and cloth. Flax was beaten and combed into fibers, then spun into yarn and woven into linen. The hand removal of seeds made cotton very expensive. In many families, children were required to fill a shoe of cotton seed before retiring to bed. Then, with the arrival of the cotton gin, the cost of processing cotton dropped markedly. A cotton gin could remove seeds 50 times faster than hand labor. Cotton was soon the fiber of choice. So by the 1840s, cotton was the principal crop along the rivers at Center and Tyson Township. Cotton grew well here, and cotton gins would have been available for those with sufficient cotton to process. Moreover, better roadways and navigational improvements were ever present on the minds of local planners. Transporting cotton overland to Cheraw had become increasingly more economical, and from Cheraw, steamboats transported it down the PD to Georgetown. From Georgetown's deep water port, ocean-going vessels delivered cotton to the rapidly expanding English textile industry. Cotton prices were high. The era of King Cotton brought with it a new burden and increased demand for cheap labor. There was plowing, chopping, and picking to do, tasks requiring abundant labor. By and large, planters secured that labor from slaves. Slavery, which earlier seemed on the decline, was now more entrenched than ever.
When the first colonists arrived in what is now Tyson and Center, this region was part of Layton County. As backcountry population increased, Layton was divided and Anson County was established. That was in 1750. 3 decades later, in 1779, Anson County was divided and Montgomery County was formed. At that time, today's Stanley County was the western half of Montgomery. Eventually, in 1841, Stanley County was carved from Montgomery with the Yadkin River, the dividing line. It was Edmund Lilly who introduced that bill to the General Assembly. Commissioners were appointed, and it was their duty to select a site for the county seat and name it. The family name of Nehemiah Hearn and his heirs offered 50 acres for use as the county seat. Their offer was accepted, and the name Albemarle was bestowed on the new village. Soon the post office was changed from Smith's Store to Albemarle. No longer did Stanley County citizens have to navigate a raging river to conduct court business. Previous Montgomery County courthouses were located at Tyndallville, near today's Morrow Mountain Boat Landing, Henderson on the Uwharrie River near its confluence with the Yadkin, where the Yadkin changed its name to PD, and Lawrenceville, located inland from the current NC Highway 2427-73 bridge. It was at Lawrenceville that a courthouse fire provided fodder for Western Montgomery citizens to petition the General Assembly for a county of their own. Incidentally, that was not the first courthouse fire in the valley. Evan Hearn was Stanley County's first sheriff. Besides maintaining law and order, the sheriff was responsible for collecting taxes. He rode horseback throughout the country, fulfilling his duties. Other first office holders included William Swearinger, the chairman of the county commission, D. Hearn, clerk of court, and D.P. Morton, register of deeds. Court was held in an upstairs room rented from Nancy Hearn, who was Nehemiah's widow. At this point, Act 2 is already on stage. Act 2, Scene 1, Summertime Outdoors at the Slave Cabin. This occurs year 1850.
Go find your pa. We gotta talk.
Why all the fuss? What happened?
Camp meeting. That's what Mrs. Claire's feeling better. Doctor says it'll be good for her to go.
I told you she was Miss Camp meeting. She's never failed to go.
We have to get ready. We're leaving day after tomorrow. You children, wash your clothes and hang them out to dry. We'll be at the big house getting things ready to go. I'll be with Mrs. Clara, your poet master. So much to do and precious little time to do it.
You know,
You know, Miss Claire, she's got everything just to go. Of course, we got food to load on the wagon and feed for the animals.
Can I take my fishing pole? Someone brings those fish in that elevator bench.
Okay, but don't you go nowhere near that boundless suckhole. You hear me? There's some strange drownings down there where the branch meets Rocky River. I've heard old folks saying they found a dead body and never been seen.
don't worry about us. We're not gonna go anywhere near it. Thanks.
I hear about you going down there and maintaining your hide.
Camp meeting began out on the frontier in the Second Great Awakening. Camp meetings were held when crops were laid by, the period when cultivation was over and crops growing. At that time, farm families could get away and enjoy camp meetings. People came out in tents or under the stars, brought chickens and cows and the entire family, including the slaves. Heart religious experience, Hart County Fair, Hart courtship ritual. People enjoy the company of friends whom they may only see this one occasion each year. By 1817, annual camp meetings occurred at Center, located where the Norwood First United Methodist Church now stands. At various periods, other camp meetings were held at Randall and Rehoboth Methodist churches, Rocky River Springs, and Cottonville AME Zion Church. People attended camp meetings from near and far. Let us prepare now for Act 2, Scene 2, Wintertime at the Country Store. This occurred in the 1850s.
The Plank Road is coming along nicely. Down at the mill yesterday, I heard that it's past Brown Creek, coming this way.
What's it gonna cost to roll?
I've heard nothing about that.
It's supposed to be here by fall, just in time to haul cotton.
You know, those horses won't know what hit them, walking on a wooden road. Who would have thought that?
They say the Plank Road from Fayetteville to Salem is doing a bang-up business.
You know, the coming thing keeps you from getting stuck in the swamp and the clay. Did you hear about that newspaper and saw where saying that they're thinking about building a plank road from Fayetteville to Center?
It'll never happen. Ain't enough cotton to support 2 plank roads to market.
You know them financiers, they can see the future better than anybody. There's always a need for better roads.
In the 1850s, the advent of plank roads was in vogue throughout North Carolina and other states. Plank roads, as well as public ferries, were privately owned, and one paid a toll or fee when using them. A plank road was authorized by the General Assembly to run from Wadesboro north through Crossroads, but its construction appeared to have halted near the Rocky River crossing. Yes, before there was Cottonville, there was Crossroads, a community of intersecting roads, one of which ran from Salisbury to Chirac. From Wadesboro, a second plank road extended to Chirac. Thus, cotton grown along Rocky River would now be transported to market more easily than ever. Historians say the decade of the 1850s was the most prosperous period for Southern planters. One can imagine planters and merchants in Center and Tyson participated in that great prosperity. At this point, we bring to you Act 2, Scene 3, Parlor at the Big House. February 28, 1861 was the year.
Well, you gonna tell me how you voted?
Sure. I'm going to tell you how I voted. I voted that we leave the union. I hope I didn't make a mistake.
Sure, everybody's right. My brother said it's gonna be hell to pay before this is over with.
It sounded like it was said the North is all talk. When it comes down to it, the North will let us go in peace, just like the man Greaser said in New York.
It's still gonna be hell to pay. Isaac said it.
Listen, Nancy, what does Isaac know about politics and war? All he knows is the last thing he hears. He's been listening to the farmers down there on Ugly Creek. They don't have any slaves. They don't even plant no cotton. But Lincoln don't bother them anyway.
But one thing Isaac knows, he can listen. He listens because he knows that it's going to be a mess when all the stuff boils down.
You know there won't be a fight, Nancy. How can they? Most of the generals are in the south, from the southern part of the country, and they all come to fight with us if there is a war. Everybody knows that.
Didn't you listen to Jeremiah Smith? He had it all figured out. The people, those Yankee people from New York and Boston, they really don't care, just like Mr. Greeley said in his newspaper. It's all right with them. It's not going to bother them. But those poor people up there in the mountains, that has to get the grain and corn to go down to market, they have to use the river. And like Jeremiah said, who in the world is going to let somebody have the mouth of the Mississippi and they can't do anything? They won't be able to use it if they let the Confederacy have it. No way in the world is the North going to let the Confederacy have the Mississippi River.
That's one man's opinion. I have one of them myself.
Following the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, Southern states began leaving the Union. The state of North Carolina conducted a referendum to determine its future as a Union or Confederate state. The statewide vote was narrow, but the result was clear: remaining in the Union. Little known to local citizens today, the Stanley County vote was overwhelmingly against leaving the Union. There were 763 votes to remain in the Union, and only 85 to leave the Union and join the Confederacy. Events altered reality. One such event was Fort Sumter. In April, when the Confederate Army shelled Fort Sumter, a United States fort in Charleston Harbor, the Civil War was on. President Lincoln called for state governors to supply 75,000 men to put down the rebellion. Governor Ellis, a Salisbury resident, responded, "You can get no troops from North Carolina." Ellis called for a special session of the General Assembly and ordered the seizure of all federal property. It was now a matter of time. North Carolina left the Union and joined the Confederacy. Let us prepare now for Act 2, Scene 4, Kitchen, in 1862.
That you're here. I've got a job for you. I want you to take this basket when I finish, and I want you to take it down to the borders of the creek. But you got to be real careful. Don't let anybody see you, okay? And you got to stay inside the wood line, and don't cross any fields, and just don't let anybody see you, okay?
I can do that.
I know you can. We don't know. Oh. No,
How long will they stay in that cave?
we don't know. The home guard's been nosing around and asking questions. We don't believe that they are on to us, but we really don't know, because if those boys get found, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, and so will we. So you got to be real careful and don't let anybody know about this. Especially, you can't even tell your brothers and sisters. Now, if someone sees you, you just take your basket of food and go on down to Aunt Ellis. because it just act normal like there's nothing going on.
I can do that.
I know you can, honey. They're depending on us. Those boys are counting on us to take care of them.
Having voted to remain in the Union by a margin of 80%, Stanley citizens can hardly be expected to fall in line enthusiastically with the war ethics. There were many resistors and others who deserted the Army. To discipline disloyal citizens and round up deserters, a county-wide vigilance committee was formed. It contained 9 districts, each with its own lieutenant in charge. Over time, other groups were assigned similar duties. The Home Guard is the name best remembered for this activity. Their tasks were difficult as well as thankless. Consequently, the Home Guard used severe tactics, including torture, imprisonment, and sometimes execution. The father of one deserter was hung by his thumbs and whipped to obtain the whereabouts of his son. The inspiration for the previous scene, a mother and daughter caring for deserters, came from the playwright's mother, a public school teacher. Long ago, one of her students told her of a remote cave beside a creek where deserters hid out during the war. The playwright's attempt to identify such location resulted in 2 possibilities. One legend says there is such a cave. A second one, that there's an outcrop of rock near a creek where deserters may have camped out. Another shocking report, David Easley, a free black, was brought before the Home Guard in Albemarle and threatened with imprisonment if he did not agree to willingly offer his services to benefit the Confederacy. No resolutions to the Easley case has been found, but in 1860, the U.S. Census does list a David Easley, free black, male, 23 years of age, together with his siblings, living in one household, apparently in the vicinity of Cottonville. At this time, we're going to present to you Act 2, Scene 5. This was taking place at the Cottonville AME Zion Church grounds in the year 1873.
Way over this is the day we've been praying for.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord.
Here's the deed, right here in my hand. 3 acres, downtown Crossroads.
He is a fine man. That Eli Shanker did accept what he promised.
Yes, Daniel, but don't forget, we did our part. Paid him $15.
That ain't all, folks. Tell ye the rest of the story, Mr. Third Year.
There's nothing more. We're going to build our church right here.
Maybe not, but they need to know it all.
I don't mean a thing, Kendall, but I'll tell them. Okay, listen, I'll say this only once. The deed states sold for religious and school purpose only. Nothing else. And later the deed, if converted to anything else but religious or school purpose, the title is voided and the land is reverted back to, so said, Eli Shanker, or his heirs assigned.
Nothing wrong with that. That's what we got the money for, so we can get a church and a school.
A cemetery too. Eli Shanker said a cemetery has religious purpose.
Bury me there in that, city. I want a peaceful place when I'm gone.
Over there, Durant. All right, over there, Durant. That's where we can hold camp meeting, and over there behind those oaks is where it will make a fine cemetery.
Bury me there, Sidney. I want a peace and quiet place when I'm gone. Ain't that right, James?
That's right, sister. Brother, you get up.
Here, James, Parlor is all yours. You can keep this place going long after we're gone. Thank you.
During the Civil War and for decades that followed, life in Center and Tyson resembled that of the early pioneers, everyone sharing a common poverty. By war's end, the economy had crumbled and hyperinflation ran rampant. Those who owned Confederate dollars began to realize their currencies may remain worthless forever. There was little money and fewer jobs. Families did what they could Families did with what they could scrape together. More and more families lived on and farmed land owned by others, the landlord. This was called sharecropping, sometimes tenant farming. As a general practice, the landowner provided the farm, a home and barn, credit for buying essentials, and sometimes a mule and farm equipment. Upon harvest, the landowner and tenant would settle up, paying off debts and sharing what little remained. By the end of the century, many rural families were moving to town for public work. This was cotton mill work or clerking in a village store. With public work, the pay was regular. One did not have to wait for the harvest and gamble of a favorable yield and a fair price. That was the beginning of the epic migration from rural countryside to villages and towns, and then on to distant market centers. A migration that continues yet today within nearly every family, here and throughout the world. People seek a better life over there, often far beyond the horizon. Despite the many hardships of our ancestors, black and white alike, they raised families and provided opportunities for their children. They organized churches and schools. They cared for the less fortunate among them. They cherished their nation. Clearly, it isn't possible to include all that one might hope in a program such as this. There's a long history of the mineral spring at Silver, Rocky River Springs, the many schools and churches, country stores, cotton gins, and grits mills, each with a history of its own. In presenting Between the Rivers, we attempted to capture an essence of rural 19th century life in this region, the life of the common man. Thank you.